What's your status on the apparatus? DK and Puncho, Cancel Kings. We got an interesting panel and a very cool topic here today. We're going to be talking about a lot of things, but more importantly, how are Christians and men of God supposed to choose between both political candidates when they've got some issues? This is a very polarizing topic, um, especially amongst men. So, anything you want to add to that, DK, before we start talking about the panel and get into the topic and pray?
Oh no, man! I think you nailed it right on the head, man.
Mm. All
Let's
right,
go.
man. Pending your approval, we'll go ahead and get it started, man.
Oh, for sure. Our prayers, saying, man. Lord, I just thank you for your grace, Lord, for your mercy, Lord. Lord, we just ask you guide us in this conversation, Lord. What above all, even with all this political stuff, Lord, we know that you're going to be the one that's on the throne. So, Lord, we just want to say that we love you and we thank you in Jesus' name.
All right, everybody. Appreciate that, DK. Guys, we are officially in overtime.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit you.
All right, we got our panel here. Today we got Lake Show, Hanley, Team Love. We got Kareem, the one and only DEI hire, Jay Hawk, of course, JR Jr., and more folks are going to be jumping on as we get into the panel. Keep in mind, guys, we can only get 10 people in here at a time. So if you're in the panel and you have contributions, stay in the panel and contribute. Or, if you jump out and somebody else jumps in, you're done. Um, all right. So we can kind of get an idea from what we're going to be talking about with the flyer here. We're talking about Christians must choose. And it seems like we're between a rock and a hard place as men of God, where you have to choose between a candidate who supports LGBTQIA plus rights and child deletions. We want to make sure we don't say that word too often, guys. So use that phrase. And Donald Trump, on the other hand, which is more of kind of classified as a liar, a megalomaniac, and everything in between. DK, what do you think about that, man?
Hmm. I don't know what I think about that, but can I start with a story?
As long as it's quick, so we can get to the first video.
Yeah. So as we get to the video, I just want to say what happened to me today, right? So
Oh,
I was I went to the market to get some fish, right? I was minding my own business, going to get some fish, and the lady, this older black lady, approaches me, is talking to me, have a good conversation, and she says to me, you know, "Are you voting?" I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "I'm voting." She said, "Oh, I know you're voting for her." I was like, "Well, I don't really like the Democratic Party, right?" And then you know what she says to me? She says, "Well, is your mom black?"
mm.
I said, I said, "What?" She said, "Is your mom black?" I was like, "Yeah, she's black." She's like, "Oh, then how can you not vote for her?" I was like, "Well, she's not voting for her." And then, then after that, it got real salty in the building. So,
Mm. So
yeah.
do you think it's kind of come to? Oh, go ahead, Kareem. You got something you want to throw in there?
I
You got a
apologize, but I may get crucified for saying this, but I think this is the same mistake we ran into with Obama. I mean, you heard comedians and everybody named Mama saying, "Yeah, I'm voting for him because he's black," you know. But I mean, I get it, but that should not be the only reason why. Like we both know, but we talked about this. Obama did more for LGBTQ than he did for black people. And he's from Chicago, one of the worst crime-ridden cities in America.
hmm.
You know, I mean, what other president do you know that put red, white, and blue rainbow lights on the White House?
That is true. That did
We
happen.
we become the laughing stock. We become an embarrassment, a stain on the world. I mean, this has been, like you said, has been prophesized of a new Babylon. I
Well,
feel like him talking about, oh, the sister saying, "Oh, you're not going to vote for Kamala," when they had her on audio at one time claiming that she wasn't black. See, she panders, and I don't want to jump ahead, but she like all Democrats, they pander to the black community or whatever community they want to get their vote from. And I hope I'm not covering all bases now, but I have a lot packed in. And when we talked about this, it's just because somebody's black, if they don't have your best interest in mind, we should not go down that road, man. I'm telling you, it's going to be disastrous.
Just going back to that topic, and we're gonna kind of hang our hats on that for a second there, and I want to pass it to Jayhawk. He's cammed up. Isn't it a little bit wrong for us to not have a little bit of brand loyalty? We got somebody of color that's running for office. Is it just racism that we don't want to support her? What is wrong with having a little bit of brand loyalty since so many other cultures do the same thing, Jayhawk? You're muted, bro.
Sorry, I was having some technical difficulties over here. But so your question was, what's the problem with brand loyalty?
Yeah, brand loyalty to black and brown. What's wrong with that?
Well, I think it's a little different if you're comparing it to some other cultures. You know, like if you look at like the Indian culture, you know, in America, you go into any Dunkin' Donuts and you see how they banded together and, you know, start purchasing Dunkin' Donuts and 7-Elevens. And, you know, if you look at different cultures, I think it's different for black people because we're culturally, we do have a culture, but we're not as close knit as those communities. So I think it's different. I just think it's different to when you brand somebody as black. I just think it's too general.
Isn't this the first step? Putting someone in the to become the most powerful person in the entire world, putting them in power. Isn't this a great step, even as Christians, to kind of, you know, have some commitment to brand loyalty?
Yeah. So I just have like just crazy.
Are you about to engage in blasphemy?
No blasphemy. But my question is, if we're going to talk about race, if that's going to be the topic, and we're going to talk about, you know, we're going to bring race into it. My first question is, and we're talking about brand loyalty. Vote for her because she's black. Is your mother black? Where are the brothers at? The brothers aren't holding it down. You know, she grew up like us. She went to a HBCU.
She's AKA.
She was in Compton. She was there. She was doing all this stuff with the brothers and the sisters, and she was around. She was with us. But we weren't good enough to marry, though.
What?
I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon.
Oh, so that's my only question. That's my only question is if
Beautiful question.
we're going to use race, and they're going to use us not holding down sisters. Does she hold?
You're saying she's not holding us down as brothers?
I mean, if that's what I don't think it's right. I don't think that's right at all to make somebody be with their race. Or I don't agree with it at all. But what I'm saying is, if that's the thermometer we're going to use, if that's a litmus test, then what are we talking about?
Right. And
Very interesting. Go ahead, Kareem. You had another comment there, or
Yep. This is Rich. I think we gotta like really just draw it to the first point, because I think it's bigger than just voting for her. You gotta vote for her because she's black. I don't think that's what it is. We gotta take a look at the other side. I've been saying this the whole time. It is not about her. It's like the Republican side is trying to make it seem like we're all for her because she's black. That's just how I view it. I'm not for her because she's black. I think the problem is most Democrats don't want to see Donald Trump in office. They don't want to see him in office because they don't respect Donald Trump. I think the lack of respect comes from his resume, what he's done, what he said, and it offended mostly the black community. The black community doesn't respect him. The black community doesn't want to see him in office. They're trying to avoid him from going back to the office. It's just like, for me, an example. When you lack someone respect, the policy goes out the window. They don't want to hear his policies because they don't respect him. It's like me in a position as a head coach. If I'm a 7th grade head coach and I got 15 players that don't respect me, do I really expect them to buy into my philosophy that I think that is going to set us up for success when they don't even respect me? So you have to earn the respect from the go. If you don't have the respect, everything that you got to say, they ain't going to buy it. One, because it starts there with the respect. So that's just how I see it.
Well, Rich, you bring up a good point. When we do surveys, sorry, anybody else have something before we move on?
Real quick, Puncho. So, you know, so when you asked your initial question about brand loyalty,
all right. So
and I said that it's very hard for us as black people to have brand loyalty because it's so general. So when the young man, when Richard was just speaking, he said the black community doesn't want Trump. that was a very general statement, which isn't true, because there's two black people right here that do want Trump. So that's what I'm saying. So
Most, I was saying most.
all I'm saying is when you say why don't we have brand loyalty, that's what I'm saying. We're so diverse. The black community is so diverse. It's hard to say that, because if you make a general statement like black people don't want this, it doesn't necessarily stand. It doesn't cover all black people. All black people aren't under that same umbrella.
So,
Every
Jayhawk, are you
single-
also saying
Yeah,
that black people should not be concerned about the moral and the character issues from Donald Trump, especially as
No.
Christians?
No,
I'm saying with any person, you should be concerned with their character. You should be concerned with, their moral character, their morals, their character, and just how they are as a person.
yeah, and
So
I
if we
wasn't
want-
even, I
if we
wasn't
want to talk
saying
about-
every black person. I was referring to most of the black community, not everybody. So obviously a few of y'all on here that support him and are voting for him. Y'all made that clear already. So when I'm referring to the black community, most of the black community, which is true, most of the black community don't support him. Even DK just said it. He got cussed out by a black person today. Most of the black community are in favor of Kamala Harris. So I'm not saying all, I'm saying most, and that's true. We all know most black people are for Kamala Harris.
Mm-hmm.
Man, first of
That's
all,
what
first of
Okay,
all,
yeah, some kind of bad echo.
yeah, I got it fixed now. But first of all, I don't know. There is a lot of course, there's a lot of black people in our community who want Kamala, but I think it's not as much as you think. It's not like it's 90%, not even 80, maybe not even maybe about 70. But I'm saying, but that's 30% of us who are really that know that hey, everything she's saying is just has nothing to do with anything. You know what I mean? This is a whole bunch of gibberish. You know what I mean? The Democratic Party has been, like I said before, just been trying to hold us down for years. And then, I think 50 Cent says it the best. Even Farrakhan says it the best. They want our vote, but they don't want to do nothing for us. You know what I mean? They want our votes. They want us to do come to and elect them. But when it comes to, doing stuff for our communities, they're nowhere to be found. There's a whole bunch of false truths.
Well, the character issue does pop up a lot. I'm going to show a real quick clip of Donald Trump that highlights some of his character issues, and then we're going to swing back and talk about Kamala once we beat that dead. But are these some of the things that black folks are talking about that give them concern when it comes to Donald Trump's character, especially being men of God? And then we're going to jump to the comments and see what they have to say about this clip.
January 6th was a very interesting day because they don't report it properly. I believe it was the largest crowd I've ever spoken before. People in that crowd said it was the most beautiful day they've ever experienced. There was love in that. There was love and unity. I have never seen such spirit and such passion and such love. January 6th was a very...
Now, he's talking about January 6th, and it's like he makes it seem like it was a kumbaya session. Logan here in the comments says January 6th was worse than 9/11. 100% here says not everyone's saying Trump 2024 when we see him committing treason against their country. Then we have Pirate Liam, Trump 2024, baby. Will Rhodes says the dude who runs this page kisses his dad on the mouth. And Pirate Liam also says, make America great again. And it goes on here. Looking at these comments and in contrasting that with how we feel as black men of God, are we missing something by as people who may not feel that Trump has the greatest character, or is it something that we should look over? And I want to point that question towards Hanley or the Lakeside, and you guys can bounce back and then we'll give it to DK and whoever else is available.
Oh, you give it to Kareem. I think he wanted to go into it.
Okay. You got it, Rawls.
No, I'll fall back for Brother Hanley. He can go. The things I'm saying, we already talked about, Punch, but I just wanted to share with the other brothers.
Fair enough.
Appreciate you, brother. As for me, I'm not ashamed to say it. Morally, I can't vote for Trump, so Kamala's the only option right now. I would have voted for Biden. I would have voted for a ham sandwich. as opposed to Trump. You know,
Mm.
morally, I can't back the guy. I couldn't believe he became president in 2016, and I can't believe he's still eligible to run, being a convicted felon. I've never seen anyone have such meteoric reaccession to essentially the top, and it's really concerning as a Christian man. So I
Mm.
can't personally
Okay.
support him.
Let's pass it over to the Lake Show, then Corey and JR in that order.
All right. So, well, first of all, peace and greetings.
What's your
All
status
right.
on the apparatus?
So, you know, as it pertains to your question, morally, I can't vote for either one of them,
Mm.
especially being a believer in God. And, you know, when I think about that in the morality, and I think about this as Christians or believers in God from whichever, you know, spiritual based faction you come from, it's like this. They all are against God. Everything they promote is against God, their whole way and everything. So
Mm.
when we talk about things like, you know, people saying, oh, you're going to vote for her for she's black, or you're going to vote for her because they just don't like Trump, or, you know, like the brother previous to me just stated about how he could still be eligible after being convicted felon. Like Joe Biden had the same situation go on. The only difference was he gave the document back. So they all do the same thing. They just chose to prosecute this man for it.
Mm.
So it's like I see contradictions on both sides. And honestly, this is the very unpopular opinion. I think as black people, especially black men that believe in God, we shouldn't even, you know, deal with politics, period, and separate ourselves and try to get our own representation. I know it's far-fetched and it's unlikely, but I mean, like somebody else just stated it. They have never done nothing for us. So what's the point? And then right now, in the times of what is going on, and when I hear these conversations day to day, and even the ones I have, they always talk about Democrat, Democrat, Democrat. Like, to me, it just makes me reflect on, like, okay, this is a modern day form of where things were when the Civil War was about to occur, when the Democrats had the slaves and they didn't want to let go of the slaves because they was using them as voters. You know, it reminds me of the same scenario, just, you know, a modern day version. So it's
So,
like, I can't get down with neither one of them
so
because
Lake
one thing
Show,
Brother,
okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
can I say
Lake Show, real quick. Lake Show, I got a gun in your head. I know
Uh-huh.
what you're gonna say. You got to vote one of these people. Which one do you vote for?
I don't think I can say that what I would say on this platform.
I got a rifle to your head. What are you gonna do?
You better pull it quicker than I can grab it.
He gonna die for the cause. I knew it.
Yeah, serious
let's
business,
pass-
dog. No, you know me, man. I've never been a faker. I ain't gonna beat around the bush. And one thing I've learned is I definitely don't try to persuade people to look at it the way I do, because you know that's an argument, or you know somebody jumping down your throat. That you asking for that if you try to do that type of thing. But
if I may interject here,
Sure thing.
not to cut you off, Brother Lake. So it's good hearing your voice, brother.
yes, peace. Same as you, bro. Peace.
Yes, sir. I have to agree with Lake so completely, and partly with Brother Hanley, and just wanted to let Brother Hanley know that these are not our only two options. They like to beat us down and make us believe that we have to vote either Democrat or Republican. And I will say something else. Trump is misunderstood, but Trump didn't do us no different than, like you said, Kamala did, and the Democrats. A lot of people don't even realize that the Republican Party was the party that freed the slaves, things like that. So there's a lot of give and take, and they do things to pander to black people, or they do things to say, hey, look what we did for you, or this whole thing right now is Puerto Ricans. They got J-Lo on stage. It's a dog and pony show.
Mm.
So, and that's why I said there is other options. There's, what is it called? Independent parties. There's the Green Party. And that's why I keep asking Punch to play this clip so the brother to see. I don't know if you could play that for us or if we're going to get into that now, but I would really
Like
like
a
the brother to
4-minute
see.
clip. We try to keep them down to like 2 minutes.
Okay, well, I mean, just play the first couple minutes of it. That's fine.
I'll try to tee it up. All right. So, from what we've heard so far, is there is a lot of character issues with Donald Trump. There is a lot of problems with who he is as a person, and we're also hearing that in the end of all this, maybe we just shouldn't vote for these people at all, because it's such a crisis of conscience when you see these negative attributes on here. want to pass it over to JR and then to Corey and get you guys' take on that. Has it gotten to a point where, Trump is such a liar or such a deceiver, such a rabble rouser that maybe it's just not it's not worth the vote, or maybe there's some redeeming qualities in him that's worth working around. You got it, JR.
Okay, so I want everybody to do me a favor right now. Can everybody hear me?
Keep it quick.
Okay, look in the mirror and see who you are.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only person besides God and yourself. That's the only person you got to answer to.
Right.
Only person you got to be accountable for. So we sitting here talking about the ins and outs of voting for Kamala or for Trump. At the end of the day, neither one of them gonna do anything for you. You got to do for yourself. That's all that matters.
That's a good point. I may piggyback on that a little bit later, because when you see these politicians come out with their policies, they don't like to do anything for any specific group. So what I always tell people is find out what their policies are and hitch your train to that ride for the good stuff that they do provide for you. Donald Trump is ending, access to public schools. Put your kid in that charter school or in that private school because he's giving you money to do it. Kamala Harris is going crazy with the green stuff and in the electronic vehicles. Hey, I just bought a family member a Tesla with the rebates from the government. There's opportunities that come when this glass gets halfway full, and we have to be able to see that. So I kind of see where you're going with it, Robert, not or JR, but hopefully I didn't mess it up too much with regard to how I see that same issue. Corey, back to you. What are your thoughts, man?
I mean, we've had this conversation multiple times. I don't think you can sit this one out. I don't think anybody should be sitting it out. Because if you sit it out, you can't really complain about nothing. It all comes back to his character. I can't align myself with something like that, with somebody like that. And that's not to say that the Republican Party itself is terrible. I mean, there are some policies and some things that I do agree with on the Republican side. There's some things I agree with on the Democrat side as well. But just him as a person, that's not somebody that I would align myself with. That's not somebody that I would look up to. That's not somebody that I would want my children to look at as a beacon of light or moral character. Or it's just on a global stage where we're laughed at when it comes to him. It's just not. I can't. Yeah.
So if it was Trump or a ham sandwich, you would choose the ham sandwich.
Well, of course, I would choose a real person. I mean, I think a lot of people, honestly, that are voting for Kamala or riding with Kamala is because they don't like Trump. Like if we just had better candidates on both sides,
true,
it would be a different story. But when this is what you have to choose from, and you got to choose something, right? It's because sitting it out, I really think that's not an option. You got to choose something.
The beauty of it. Go ahead.
You got to hear him.
The beauty of it is we can have this conversation, and that's the beauty of being here in America, being Americans. It's your right. You don't even have to share who you're going to vote for. But being able to have this conversation, it may be the last time that we're able to have it. My humble opinion is that we possibly could be electing America's first dictator. Everything that he does is that of a dictator. Even before it was said openly, I thought it to myself. I've never seen anybody more charming and divisive since Adolf Hitler. And again, this is just my views and opinions. It does not reflect the views and opinions of the group. But it's too much for me, and 100%, I'd vote for the ham sandwich every time.
Right, but first of all, I mean,
well, we're gonna let you get a DK, then we're off the DEI hire.
Okay, because first of all, Hanley, I think if the Democratic Party, if Harris wins this election, this is the last time the black vote will count, for sure, 100%. So, according to you, it don't matter who wins. Last time our votes matter. But to be honest, man, the thing is, he's not trying to be a dictator. The problem I think that people have with him. It's not us. It's not regular people. It's really the politicians. The politicians who are in office don't like him because he's not one of them. He's not there to make the money, you know what I mean? In the sense of, I want to be in politics for 50, 60 years. I was saying this to somebody else. The politics or politicians, it was never meant to be that you go there and you make money and you stay there forever. It was never meant to be like that. You were supposed to go. It would cost you back in the day to go ahead and run for office. You would have to leave your farm, can't make no money, go there and represent your community, and that's what it was supposed to be about. But now it's become something different. It should never be a job or something, or go to school to be a politician, because that's what it seems like. It seems like these people stay in here forever and ever, and they're only Democrat and Republican and liberal and whoever can get in. Their whole thing is just staying as long as they can to make as much money as they can. But the thing with Trump is he don't need all of that, and he's going to disrupt all that, because I think that's what doesn't make America great, because our democratic process isn't how it was intended to be.
Anybody want to have a different observation on that before we move on?
Real quick, I said this before, right? I know you heard this many times in recent months. Trump is a threat to their democracy. Now, when America was started, it was a republic, was it not? So why do we want to keep a democracy?
You're saying change the whole system.
It's a democratic republic, though.
There's no such thing.
It is a such thing.
There's no such thing. It's a contradiction.
It's a democratic republic because we elect the people into the positions to represent us, right? That's the republic part of it. But it's a democratic part because the people have a say so.
So and it's the other way. It's supposed to be the other way around when it comes to Republican democracy. Democracy is where the politicians make decisions that they think are best for the people, whereas the republic has somebody represent them to reflect what it is they want using their voice. So those two things don't go together. They're opposites.
They are opposites, but they're both
they can't coexist, which is why America is trash. It's dumpster juice.
All right, so we have that. DK, from what Lake Show is saying, is irregardless of what we do, there's going to be a problem. Corey is saying there is some redemptive value to it. We got to make the best of the dumpster. So DK, hang tight. We're going to play this real quick clip here as we go through our moment of with what Kareem had said earlier. Just real quick, go through this clip and just talk about the other options that we have, since it may be something that's viable.
Because unless you live in one of them 4 or 5 swing states,
kind of low.
You've already decided that your state is going to go either blue.
You guys hear that?
Before you ever get into the booth. So instead of throwing your vote away on Team Red or Team Blue when it don't make no difference in the state that you in, why not vote for reparations now? Why not vote for a ceasefire now? Why not build power in a Green Party that is going to give people an actual viable third-party alternative so that we can get these thugs on either side of the aisle to behave like grown folk?
Any thoughts on that, Kareem, that you want to re-elaborate? That basically a third party may be a little bit more proactive in getting these policies done? Nothing heard. All right. So
yeah. I apologize. I'm trying to get these children quiet. But no, absolutely. Brothers need to go back and check that out, because it's basically what Lakeshore was saying. You know, we have no dog in the fight when it comes to Kamala and Trump, because both of them, they're not really good for our people at all. So it's this third party, what they were talking about, reparations and things like that, they consider that like civil rights violation stuff. You know, Trump and Kamala, the AOC now was trying to stop them at every turn. That's why you have to write them in on ballots now if you're going to vote for the Green Party.
So what if the Green Party or an independent party can't win, or they don't win? a lot of the big issues was they're such marginal parties that they're not even viable. If anything, they typically take away from Democrat candidates and
Again,
put more Republicans in office.
it goes back to them playing us for generations, thinking that all we have is blue or red. Like they say, blue or red states. The media, they downplay the independent parties. They downplay. So people don't realize. Like when my dad was alive, he used to always vote. There was this black woman that always ran. She was running independent. He would always write her name in and vote for her. Like we have enough people. You've been to the Million Man March in 1995. We have enough brothers that could say, hey, we're gonna hold our vote. Everybody did it for Obama. Why can't we do it for somebody that we know that's going to make things happen for us instead of just saying they say they're going to do something for us? You know what I mean? And just say, hey, we got a third option here.
Well, I don't know if independent parties are viable now, but I do think it may be an answer for people who just don't see things the way that the mainstream media and also the mainstream political parties see it. I do think you have a point.
Well, I would say to the brothers, y'all go back and check out that clip. It's on the Breakfast Club, Dr. Jill Stein and Dr. Butch Ware. Very, very informative.
We get a lot of copyright strikes when we play the Breakfast Club. They don't want nobody sharing their stuff. They're a little shady sometimes. Okay, one of our last clips here.
Real quick before we move on, we don't gotta dig deep into the topic if we don't got time to. But I keep hearing this Kamala has nothing good planned for us or and all of that. I want us to like what does that mean because I've heard several of her plans already with that she intends to do. She's been talking about many things that will benefit us. I'm gonna be more specific. The average American citizen, the middle class, that will benefit a lot from. I mean, she's been saying a lot all campaign. So, what are the things that don't benefit us? Because I keep hearing that
I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon.
I've been hearing people say exactly what he just said, and guess what? I haven't heard her or the people that repeat it say exactly what she plans to do.
But
that boy is good.
Right.
DK, did you want to add something to that?
Next topic.
Can I say something real quick? Can I say something real quick?
Go ahead, JR.
So we talking about what she can do, what she can't do, what he can do, and what he's not going to do. What are you going to do for yourself? That's what matters. You can vote for whoever, but no matter what happens, are you going to be able to take care of yourself? Are you going to be able to take care of your people? Are you prepared to do that? It doesn't matter. Take care of yourself.
Yeah, that kind of goes right back into you really resonating with me tonight there, JR. Because we're gonna get somebody in there that we don't everybody doesn't like.
I agree with what he said. But again, I'm gonna always as a young man, I'm always gonna do what I want to do. I'm always gonna find a way. I'm always gonna make a way. Either way, that's just a character trait that I have as a man. But again, when we're talking about the American citizens, there are people in America who are just have poor circumstances that they rely on government help. Like it's reality of it. We're not trying to rely. We're supposed to work. They that's their job. Their purpose. They're there to support people that are just stranded in their poor circumstances to help them get back on their feet. So it's not everybody just doing you on your own. No, they need support. That's the reality of it. There's people that actually rely on government support.
No, listen.
DK, your mic again.
I got it. Yeah, so Richard, so for real, when you think about that, right? That's not the issue. We know we all had down times and we might have needed help. But the problem is with Harris and the Democratic Party is that all they want to do is help us and keep us there. You know what I mean? They want to put this white picket fence. And that's the problem that I have. Like, I don't want to, how they say it, don't give me the fish, teach me how to fish. But what the Democrat Party is, here, you want a fish? I'll give you one. You want another fish? I'll give you one. But teach me how to fish so I can have my own, so I don't have to come to you. And that's the problem that I have. To me, I think they feel like that we can't do it. You know what I mean?
I mean, I think it's different because it's like what you supposed to use what they give you, take advantage of that. Like you had the opportunity to take something. For example, if I'm not getting paid enough money and I'm getting some type of aid assistance, getting money, I should use that aid money I'm getting to save and continue to stacking up what I'm already making. So there's opportunities. That sounds like a you problem.
But Richard, they don't give you money to do that. You got a little bit of money to do a little bit of stuff. That's what the problem is. They're not giving you nothing to stack. You know what I mean? You can't stack no money. That's what you don't understand. You know what I mean? That you can't. They don't allow you to stack any money. You know what I mean? If you're on Social Security, all you can have that. You can't work more than this amount of hours. If you know what I mean, if you're on disability, you can only get this amount. You know what I mean? Because they want to keep you right where you're at. If you're on welfare, you could be on welfare up to this amount because they want to keep you down. So because if you make that money, then you're going to start not needing them, not voting for them because you want to do the right thing. You're like, hey, I'm making all this money. Why are you taxing me all this money? And you're like, you know what? That's the problem, Rich. That's all I'm saying. That's the problem with me.
So then what's the alternative, right? The other side, they want to cut funding for all of that. Hold on. The other side, they want to cut funding for all of that. So for people that actually are down and out and they really do need a helping hand, not to stay within the system, but just to pull themselves up so that they can get out of it.
And they no longer.
The other side wants to completely cut it out completely. So there is no helping hand. There is no assistance.
Can I interject real quick?
And Hanley, real quick. I'm sorry, not Hanley, Corey. I'm saying what I'm saying is that the problem is that I mean, at least I can only speak for myself. I know people who have been stuck in the system for years and years and years. I have this one lady. She's like a really an excellent worker, but she's scared to get off a disability because the disability is coming every month. And and to me, I feel like she has a disability, but she's able to work. And I'm able to pay her 3 times as much as she get paid for disability, but she's scared to leave what she knows that's guaranteed week after week, even if it's 3 times less a month that I'm going to pay her because she's just scared. She's scared to leave the system. And I think a lot of people get caught up in that.
See, and I think again the system helps us because I actually just got done using the system. So this is something I actually went through. I was on a 12-month lease with my apartment. It was a time where I had a new job, took a large pay cut. It was hard for me to start affording the rent until I got into the new position. So what I did was I was stuck. I was back 2 months of rent. I got rent coming up. Don't know what I'm gonna do. So it was a time where I could apply get a grant through the Salvation Army, and they'll pay. They give me assistance to help pay what rent. It was called rent relief. I applied. They got me back. They said we can give you 3 months worth of rent. I used the 3 months. Thank God I was able to use 3 months, stay on my lease. And by then, I had money stacked up. I didn't need the assistance no more. I took the rest. I took care of it.
Do you feel like Republicans wouldn't help you in that kind of situation?
But right, and I'm saying that's how it's supposed to be. Like to me, that's what these services, the welfare. That's how it's supposed to work. But what I'm saying is, my personal belief is that the Democratic Party doesn't want it to be used like that. They want it to be like, hey, just depend on us to have this little bit and shut up.
Right.
How do you reconcile all that with the character issues that come with that vote? Are you able to make those two work together?
As far as
Donald Trump?
That's a great question.
Well,
because you give up so much going that direction. Let's not forget that Donald Trump was president during COVID when we needed a president, and because he threw a tantrum, he decided to take his hands off the wheel. He has showed and said time and time again what he's going to do. Most recently, I want to say within the last 24 hours, he said Nancy Pelosi should have guns trained at her. She should face a firing squad. It's just not something that a president of the United States should say. He had 4 years to do it. The guy is super entertaining. It's just we're the laughingstock of the world because if he takes over again, it's going to be pure buffoonery. Again, my humble opinion.
Can we keep that in context though? I mean, what he really was saying is that you got these people sitting behind a desk, you know what I mean, just sitting, people just like, oh, just go to war, not really understanding the consequence of what it is. You know what I mean? How it basically saying, how would you feel if we put you in that situation? You know what I mean? That's how I took it. You know what I mean?
Here's another issue though. Everything that comes out of his mouth, we always gotta dig deep and take the context. Every little thing. That's how, like you just can't keep saying things that don't make sense and rely on us to consider all the context and go do our research and all of that. Let's keep it real. Keep it real with the American citizens. That's all we ask for.
Okay, we'll play this final video here. Someone who's very popular in the culture that has had some things to say about some recent things that happened at a Trump rally.
All right, so we have now added to the roster of mega stars in American public life who have endorsed Kamala Harris. Obviously, Taylor Swift, Beyonce, and now LeBron James, probably one of the top 3 to 5 biggest sports stars in the entire world and in the country. And it's pretty striking. Came out on Twitter basically saying, of course I'm voting for Kamala Harris, which I would have assumed he was. But it's striking because earlier generations of athletes, particularly star basketball players, most notably Michael Jordan, who famously said Republicans buy sneakers too, did not use their kind of fame to endorse political candidates, but James has been much more outspoken. And again, I think in this election, which we all expect to be very close, like every little bit of the margins helps. I mean, Bad Bunny making the endorsement that he did a few days ago. Do these endorsements move like tens of thousands of votes? Probably not, but could they move 500? Beyonce.
Let's get to one of the comments that he mentioned here, where they were talking about the comment that was made during the rally in Madison Square Garden, where someone on the Trump side said that Puerto Rico was pretty much a garbage dumpster or something to that effect. I want to pass that over to DEI Hire. How are voters, supporters, Christians supposed to take those kind of comments and make sense of that when you're voting for a candidate?
Yeah, I'm not too sure on that one because I looked at it and the comedian was way off base, and that was just poor decision making on his handlers. And Puerto Rico, talking to most of my ends there, they're very offended by it, and they do represent a huge voting portion. I think it's like 480,000 in Pennsylvania, and inside their little circle, that definitely swayed it, whether it was accurate or not. I think it was total not misrepresentation, but it was a total twist to say this comedian is now speaking on this man's behalf as the presidential candidate. It was his venue, so he has to own it. And yeah, that hurt a lot of people's feelings. I don't think that had any religious basis. I think that was more of the subculture of the Puerto Ricans and the Hispanic community.
Well, doesn't that make you wonder, like, what kind of people are they putting on this campaign trail to make these kind of comments? Is it a bad choice? Does it go to a character issue with Donald Trump and his team?
One of many.
Sure. That's accurate.
Okay, passing that same question. Who hasn't had much airtime here? Los, and then Kareem. What are your thoughts on that when it comes down to the whole thing with Puerto Rico and the trash in the sea, referring to the island? Kareem, what do you think, man?
Well, are we talking about how Kamala handled it or Trump? Where are we going with
Trump handled it, yeah.
Well, we know what happened when the hurricane hit down there and how they said he treated them, but I
mean the more recent comment during the rally where the comedian mentioned that it was trash. The island of Puerto Rico being trash. Yeah,
it's like the comedian. I guess he acted alone. Trump, he distanced himself from it by saying he didn't know who he was, but the guy was on the roster. So I feel like, look, man, we all black men in here, man. We know who we dealing with. Let's not play like, oh, I can't believe this. We know who we dealing with. At the end of the day, I mean, we got to choose between Satan or the devil. It's that simple. We talking about pure, unadulterated, uncut, just debauchery on both sides. Like, there's been things said as recently as President Biden calling them garbage. Like, since I've been alive, I've never seen this much like slander and mudslinging in politics. I mean, like we were talking about it on Bill Maher about how there used to be class. I mean, Reagan could have a debate with somebody and he wouldn't know saint. Let's just talk about it, and then go have a glass of beer or something with them. Like, it's become ridiculous, man. It's become a habitation of devils.
Right. And here's my take on it though, because I heard the same comments that was made, and the person speaking, I don't even know who he was until I seen the video and the comments made. So my point is to say is, when you bringing someone up to support you on your campaign and you're trying to persuade the opposite party, you don't make those type of comments when, one, you have people who don't even know who you are. So now they just see you up on the stage making racist comments. I didn't even know you're a comedian, so we don't even know that's your career, none of that. We're not. So again, it was another situation where we got to dig deep. We got to figure out the context. We got to go do our research and all of that other stuff when you're trying to persuade other people. So it really, in reality, it makes you look bad. And then you're making those jokes after the person that you're supporting denied to support Puerto Rico when they went through a hurricane. You denied to support them, and now we're sitting there calling them garbage. So I mean, when you look into it that way, it looks very bad on their end.
Yeah, but also let's get the facts right. We're talking about Puerto Rico, right? And the issue that Puerto Rico has, that when it comes to their waste, right? When it comes to their waste, it's they have nowhere to put this trash. The people are walking around with masks on. It's actually, it's like a whole cesspool in there. You know what I mean? And yes, he was making a joke, and he is like a roasting comedian. I don't know if you guys watch roast, but he does roast, and this is like his job, his profession, that he just makes all the craziest jokes. I mean, we could go about the watermelon joke. I mean, if you watch any of his stuff, he's real edgy
Watermelon.
and yeah, the watermelon. Yeah, he said a whole bunch of stuff in there. It wasn't just Puerto Rico.
Right.
Puerto Rico. It had to do with blacks, but he was on a Tom Brady roast. He was roasting, I think, a couple other people. You know what I mean? Like black. I mean, but the same thing. If you look at there's a whole bunch of black comedians who do the same thing. You know what I mean? But we don't say nothing about that. And yes, he was on the platform. But then if we're going to say, okay, if he was on the platform, he said this, but it's okay, for Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, all these things that they stand for, they come say, I support her, come on her platform, twerking and doing all this, but that's presidential. That's okay.
No, I'm not saying it is.
No, but I'm saying, but we don't have that same talk about that.
They know her. I'm just saying though, if you're going to call, like, that's not funny. If you're going to try to be funny and call, we know what they're going to.
But that's what he does.
He does, but again, there's nothing funny about that. And if you are going to do that, again, if you're trying to persuade another side of the party, next time you go on the stage, my advice, just before you start speaking, let America know that you're a comedian. You're getting ready to crack jokes. You don't just go on the stage disrespecting the stage.
Just because you didn't know he was a comedian doesn't mean that most people didn't know. He's really a popular roast comedian. Like, I got a joke for you. Here go a joke. Oh yeah, my face on there, so they don't know who I am. Now, let me tell you this joke, right? What do you call? And tell me, am I wrong for saying this, right?
Careful now, Jesus is watching.
I'm not gonna cuss, but what do you call a white man, right, who's having a seizure?
A milkshake.
A milk.
But again,
but what I'm saying, that's ignorant, right? That's ignorant, right? That's ignorant. But if you know the context I was saying it, that I'm just repeating somebody's joke.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that people say things like that.
Right.
And it's just
and that's, like I said, that's fine. I just think, again, it was the wrong place. It was the wrong time. Again, if you're trying to persuade the opposite party, that's just something you can't.
Right. So
it just can't happen.
Put a woman on a pole.
And you're right. And I disagree. I think most people didn't know who he was because it's the same reason why he got slandered.
Can I say something, Punch?
Tom Brady's roast was
Give it a second, bro.
biggest roast ever watched.
Yes. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ross.
I just want to jump in, fellas, and I apologize, man. I'm hearing a lot, and I feel like we're getting away from the real issue here, and a lot of people, it seems to get talked over, and a lot of debates I see on CNN and things like that. What we're missing here is we're making knee-jerk reactions because of how a politician or a speaker at one of the politicians' rallies makes us feel. And, oh, that's who I'm voting for because they made me feel a certain way. Or I'm not voting for them because they made me feel, instead of researching and looking at the policies. We're getting away from that. And if we don't do the research and see what is she going to do, what has she actually got in plan, who is going to be on her cabinet? Like, nobody's studying. They just going off. A lot of people, and I'm not saying it's y'all, but a lot of people are just going off how we feel. And I'll say for my second point, and I'll be done, man. If you see these commercials, I'm sure we all have these ads, campaign ads being ran. Trump, he's going to do blah, blah, blah for the rich. He's going to cut taxes for the rich. Kamala, she's here for the middle class. But who are the unsung heroes? Who are the people, the military vets that's poor, the people that lost their homes and stuff in the hurricanes and the storms? They're homeless now. The homeless. There's no more middle class in America. It's become Puerto Rico in a lot of ways. You're either rich or you're poor. You're either struggling to get by or you making it. You know what I mean? You're not surviving, but you making it. You eating good. So nobody's saying anything about I'm going to help the poor out. I'm going to open up some more community centers for the children. They're just talking about I'm going to cut taxes, this and that. No. What about the homelessness? Nobody's talking about these things.
So anybody else want to jump on that before we jump? I shouldn't say it like that.
Yeah, can I say something real quick?
Go ahead,
man?
boss.
Okay, so we sitting here, and I'm gonna say this 1,000 times. I'm gonna stop beating this dead horse. So how many people got on this panel all today? Punch. How many people
We got 10
on?
people total.
10 people we got on here. Okay, so I don't need the government to help me for anything. If I can't ask you brothers to help me, then who gonna help me? I don't need the government for nothing. We got 10 people on here. If each brother can't help each other out, what are you here for? I don't need the government. I got y'all.
So you're going back to your original premise that we should be focused more on a smaller community. So my question for you then, JR, would be, who helps you manage and to get more resources to that smaller community of like-minded people, of your band of brothers? Which candidate helps you do that better?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, so we got him.
Hey, Pons, let me hear from Jayhawk. I ain't hear from Jayhawk in a minute. What you got, man? You're looking like you in deep thought.
It depends. There's, I mean, what we talking about? What conversation? Y'all been talking about a
Everything.
lot.
Fire off right now.
Pick any of them.
I mean, I can touch on a lot of that stuff. I don't know what you go ahead, Punch. Give me some.
Well, we were talking about the moral
go ahead.
issue of voting for Donald Trump, and why do you think people are able to square that circle and still vote for him? Is it because it's the opposite of Kamala Harris? They'd vote for Trump over even if it were a ham sandwich kind of thing. What are people thinking to make them still vote for Donald Trump, considering some of his flaws? And then we'll move over to Kamala Harris, and we'll put her on the cross for a little while.
I mean, honestly, if you could play that clip that I sent you, that kind of that resonated with me, and that kind of says how I feel.
Right.
The Andrew Cuomo quote clip.
Okay, so we'll just transition right into some of the criticism that folks have for Kamala Harris. And as you guys know, she's one of the major things that Christians have problems with Trump is him having issues with telling the truth and his megalomaniac, idealizations. And you also have Kamala Harris on the other hand, which she's a very strong supporter of the alternative lifestyle community and child deletions. Let's take a look at Andrew Cuomo on this particular topic, and we will go from there. Andrew Cuomo, he used to work for CNN, got fired, and now he's making a bit of a splash these days. Here we go. Uh-oh, where's it at?
I'm thinking that the people who support Trump are like Trump, that they speak like Trump, that they act like Trump. They don't. They want to hire Trump to do a dirty job. They want him to be a virus to the political corpus. They want him to disrupt, to destroy, to demean those that they disrespect and dislike, the system that they distrust and despise. They want someone to do what they believe has been done to them and that they cannot do themselves. That's why they don't care that he exhibits terrible behavior, because they're putting him into a terrible place. If you're sending somebody into the jungle, do you really care if they're a savage? You see what I'm saying? And you have to understand it that way. You may not agree, you may not accept, you may not like, but that's what it is. You gotta.
All right, Jimmy, let us know why this video resonates with you, and then we'll go through some of the comments associated with the video and then put it back to the panel.
Because sometimes, you know, the way I look at it is we forget, we get so laser focused on things, we lose sight of the big picture, and we forget who has morals in Washington. What president had morals? You know, these presidents are all responsible for killing hundreds, if not thousands, of people. You know, there's a lot of things that are being done that we know nothing about, and we all sit here and praise these people like they're all, you know, morally perfect, or they're living by the high standards. I'm telling you, these people. Well, I don't know for a fact. Like, I'm just speaking. This is my opinion, but you know, I'm sure there's a lot of things these people do that, you know, we wouldn't agree with if we knew. So for us to all point a finger at Donald Trump, yes, I don't like the way he acts. I don't like some of the things he does. But for us to all point the finger at him and act like everybody else is okay and everybody else is, you know, is different just because they wear a different mask, just, you know, I think that's why that kind of landed with me.
Okay, let's take a look at some comments here. I've been following Trump since the 80s. A brilliant businessman, knows how to get stuff done, and respect, even if you don't like how he does things, he gets it done. Boo Boo Bear, Trump. Another commenter says, there's nothing wrong with the way Trump speaks. He never bought into the sugarcoating or politically correct way of speaking like so many have. Speaking blunt truth isn't terrible behavior. Interesting. Another comment, absolutely. Trump is a brilliant man, and he's always going to be my president. We want him because he loves our country and puts America first, says another commenter. And finally, Trump is not part of the machine. When you hear this kind of stuff, Los, and then we'll pass it to Corey, is any of this true, or is this just more, you know, Republican propaganda?
I think some of it is not true. Some of it's true. Again, it's everybody has their own personal decision on whether or not who they're going to vote for and all that other details. However, I do think there are certain policies that are better than the other parties. Trump has some policies that's better than Harris's. She has some that's better than his. But at the end of the day, when you look at the resume and when you talk about comparing their character and who they are as people, I personally think that Trump's resume is a little bit deeper and worse than Kamala Harris's, what she has on her background. I think she's more qualified than him. So that's another thing. So I think it's different for everybody though, but it's just I think she had her resume is better than his.
Okay, so let's get to her resume from a Christian perspective. Let's open it up with this clip, and we'll go from there.
That it is that the issue for a child is more important whether the parents are a heterosexual or a homosexual couple versus whether the child is being raised in a loving home where they are being supported and nurtured so that they can become the productive human being and adult we want them to become. If you have to take it on balance, I think most reasonable people would agree that what is most important is that child, if the focus is truly on the child, that child is raised in a family where they are loved.
So this is Kamala Harris taking a strong stance on pretty much promoting same-sex marriage. Los, what are your thoughts on same-sex marriage as a Christian man?
See, I think
you got an echo there, bro. We got to clean that up.
She's married to a man. She has a husband. It's not about her and her personal beliefs. I believe she's also Christian. But again, it's different. It's different from you. Right now she's trying to be a president to America. Not every American is Christian, and I think she respects that. I think she wants to support the American people, but her own personal faith journey is separate from her career, her job. She's invested into America. It's two different. So I think that's where people get confused. That she might not support it, but she supports the American people. Every American in America is not Christian, and that is something we have to respect. It's just the reality of
Do
it.
you think that homosexuality is a sin?
Yes.
Do you think that having a bad character is a sin?
No.
Okay. What are your thoughts on that, Lake Show?
Well, so she says it's about the child, and she wants to make sure that this child is in a loving environment. Yet this is the same person who wants less children brought into the world.
Again, I slightly disagree.
Of course you will. You vote for her.
It's not even that. It's not up to her how many children enter the world. It's again, she's allowing grown women to make their own decisions what they want to do with their own child. You can't. Do
you think as a Christian that it's appropriate for her to create legislation that allows for same-sex marriages?
For her, it's not her decision.
As president, you think that's an okay thing? You think that's just her personal business?
As a president, if you're running a country that stands on freedom, I think it is appropriate to give grown women their own decision. Again,
do you believe as a Christian that a man can marry a man and a woman can marry a woman?
No, I don't believe that. As a Christian, I don't. Myself, I don't. But again, not every American is Christian.
Can I finish what I was about to say?
Go ahead, boss.
So now when we start these conversations, we're coming from the view of Christian men, right? Christian black men, correct?
True.
Yes.
So when I hear these things and I hear these contradictions come out of their mouth, I can't agree with somebody who is instituting things that are not Christian. I can't agree with any of these people who are doing anything that is immoral. You understand what I'm saying? So
yes,
this is my personal little joke. And I'm not trying to persuade anybody else to think like me, but I will not vote for a reptilian nor a Democrat.
Whoa.
And again, I think that's fun. But again, as she's running for president, we have to take into consideration she's not just running for the Christian family. She's running for America.
See, this is
And America is Mystery Babylon, so I don't care.
And it is, but again, not every American believes in that. So that's the problem.
And that's cool. I understand they don't believe in that, but that's not going to persuade me into seeing things good about her.
So I want to pass it to Corey, and then we'll give it to DK.
Great point, Lake Show.
So I think you pitching it to me?
You want to take this or another Kamala Harris issue?
I mean, I'll jump in on this, and then you could throw me another one. But I think it's important to note that Trump is not the highly ideal person that we would. I can't even get the words together.
He has character issues that could be sinful.
Right. And okay. I agree with what's his name, Los, what he's saying as far as her being the president for all of America. That includes Christians and Hindus and all religions, right? She has her own belief, and I don't even know what she aligns with. But you don't in America, there's a separation of church and state, right? So you don't.
So are you saying we should leave our moral values out of our decision for choosing a president?
I'm not saying you leave your moral values out, but what I'm saying is that you don't lead the country based off of your own, I don't want to say moral character, but things that align to your faith specifically.
Right.
Because you have other nationalities and you have other cultures and you have other religions within America, and that's written within the Constitution, right? Freedom of religion. So you can't lead that way.
So
And
if,
again, real quick, before DK go, real quick, I like what you said because again, and that's something I also respect about her. She's giving the people a choice, and that's all. That's all they want is a choice. Just think about it. We're all saying we're Christian, we religion, this that. God, He gave us a choice. So that's all I got to say.
but
Yeah,
it's
but yeah,
DK, you echo.
yeah, but for me, sorry, hold on. Yeah, but for me, this is the issue I have. So if she, she's going into church, she's getting prayed over. You sent me the video, right? She's getting prayed over. So she obviously she grew up in church, right? So what I'm saying, and as a leader, and I got a lot of ridicule on this on Facebook the other day. But what I'm saying is, if you are a Christian, right, and you stand for Christ, and you're saying that, hey, I'm going to be a Christian leader, and I'm going to come in here, and okay, yes, it's free, it's a free world, right, and a free country. But I always believed that America stood on Christian values, at least at one time. You know what I mean? Like that's what to me, when you talk about making America great, like making the reason why America was great, it has nothing to do with us, but it has to do all with Christ. I think Christ in the blessing, or God blesses the nation because we upheld for the most part his values, right?
Right.
So now you're telling me this person who say they're a Christian, but they're saying, you know what? I'm a Christian, but I'm going to set my values aside for this. So I'm going to choose the world over my values, because that's fine. If you're not a Christian, you can say whatever you want to say, right? But if you are a Christian and you're going into a place of leadership, how can you set your Christian values apart from you? Because God said that we became new, right? That we set the old stuff away. So if we're truly Christian, and you're coming in and you're coming with these policies, then how can you say you support something that's totally against Christianity? And that's my issue with it.
Right.
If she's not a Christian, fine.
Right.
She
And I
can
think
support
she is.
abortion.
And I think she is, but I also, like I said, I don't think she supports it. I think the best thing about us having our Christian values is that she's giving them the choice. She's not saying every woman in America that gets pregnant, you need to get an abortion. No, it's your choice. If you get the news that your child is brain dead, that's your choice on your personal journey, what decision you're going to make.
But we all most people, if you're pro-life or pro-choice, right? There are some abortions that you'll agree with. You agree with medical reasons. You agree with incest. You might agree with rape. But what my whole thing with abortion is, I don't agree with abortion when it comes to birth control. But what I'm saying is, and I don't think we should allow people to do that. That's what I'm saying. And even besides
choice.
No, because I'm saying, because what about the kid don't have a choice? So we're killing kids that don't have, like we said, okay, the woman has a choice, but the kid don't have a choice. You know, not because the kid's sick, not because the mom is hurt, not because she got raped, but the mom is saying, you know what, I don't like my boyfriend no more.
I'm about to go get a little Lakey.
Yeah, I'm 4 months
I'm about
pregnant.
to go get a little Lakey and come right back.
Not the portion, Lake.
Yeah, that's the issue that I have with abortion. It's not about the woman's choice. It's about it should not be used for birth control. That's all I'm saying. And because I think the kid has a right too.
So real quick, DEI hire. First, let's get your opinion on her stance in supporting the alternative lifestyle movement. As a Christian man, is that a reason why you can't see yourself supporting her? And then let's go to the child deletion topic, as DK is starting to pull us into. What are your thoughts on that DEI hire?
I think there's an underlying issue. People are just mentally handicapped, and maybe we need to start state hospitals again, because I personally just can't wrap my head around why you want to transgender or transition or identify as something more than what God didn't make you to be. And the argument is, yeah, sure. Well, this is how I really feel. This is what
Hold
God
on now.
really made me.
Kamala Harris said that she even supported and will continue to support it if the law allows her to. men receiving transgender surgeries and females while they're in jail, to include illegal aliens receiving those while they're detained. Is that something that you would expect a Christian leader to say as a man hoping for, a more Christ-like, political system?
I would put it this way, that that's an elective surgery. That's an elective process. So I don't think any government should support it. But
The
kind of like
U.S.
what Lo
military
said,
supports it also.
right? But the government shouldn't even it shouldn't even have got that far.
Hmm.
So I just like the abortion piece, it should be an individual choice, and the choice has never been taken away. It's just been referred back to the states. So people not understanding basic civics of how our government's set up is the first flaw, and it's a misrepresentation from the Harris campaign to even suggest that.
Right. So Jr.
So anyway, but I know that's the intellectual part. That's where it's at.
So Jr. Real quick, is there a conflict when it comes down to you being a Christian and supporting a candidate who believes in child deletion and transitioning, adults, giving them the option to do that more freely?
Yes, it's definitely a conflict.
Why so? And how does this affect your community idea? And just focus on a community supporting each other.
Well, if you're going with the Christian side of it, as we are, if you agreeing with somebody that if you're going for somebody that goes against that, that's a no-brainer right there. And as a community, you're no candidate gonna tell me what to do. My circle, my community is going to dictate what I do.
Okay. So nobody in your community wants, same-sex marriage. Nobody in your community is LGBTQIA plus. Nobody in your community wants to give women the right to choose. What are you saying here?
If somebody in my community, you can believe what you want to, but at the end of the day, we got to hold each other accountable for what we need done.
What does that mean? Help me through all this encrypted talk, man. Help me.
Okay.
Let's get to the brass tacks.
You can agree with whatever you want to, but if I need you to do something, you better be ready to do it. Flat out.
Okay.
You can agree with whoever you want to agree with. You can do whatever you want to do with. But if I know you to do this and I need you to do that, you better be ready to do that.
Okay. Same question for Jayhawk and then Corey. Did Corey, you already get a chance? I think you did.
What's that?
Corey, Jayhawk and Corey.
Okay.
One thing I think with when we're talking about the LGBTQ, the alphabet, we need to talk about one thing I wanted to kind of direct you to is with kids. A lot of times these kids, and there's they're trying to pass laws that have kids be able to get puberty blockers and gender reassignment surgery, or there's a couple other names I don't recall, but we all know kids when we were growing up that we were like, oh, he's gonna be gay or she's gonna be gay, and they end up being homosexual. Well, now what's happening is those kids, those 10, 11, 12-year-olds who might be trying to figure out who they are, what where they want to go in life and what they want to be, and maybe they're going to be homosexual. A lot of those kids are getting pushed into something that they might not really want to do long term, whether it's surgery or medications they take. So I think that needs to be addressed too, because that's a very dangerous thing. I mean, you've already had a lot of kids that have had things done to them that could be irreversible.
But there's no conflict when you have a political candidate that suggests that this should be the law of the land. You have no problem with that.
Oh, I definitely have a problem with it. Yeah.
Could I clarify one thing then, Pancho?
Let's do it.
All right. I know a lot of people don't understand me when I speak, but this what do you call it? The deletion thing. I don't think we should, if our government's going to focus so much resources and energy into it to allow it to happen. But what's really killing the subculture? Is it heart disease? Is it cancer? And my answer to that is it's probably yes. It's probably the number one killer of Black people, whether it's Black males, Black females, across the board. Why are we putting energy in that? Why are we focusing on something that's elective? So I think it's a misrepresentation of resources and funds to pander to a crowd that may or may not be need or have Christian values. So why don't we actually focus on things that are actually going to help the community instead of making it more divisive? And
Okay.
hopefully that clears things up. So
Kareem, you get the final word on this. What do you think, boss?
Top.
Oh no, Rich.
Okay, DK, you unmuted. You want to say something?
Yes.
Oh, go ahead, brother.
Okay, I'm sorry. Real quick, y'all. So I got a couple people over here. We had a little side discussion while you guys were talking, and I think it's important that we bring this up. So my issue is, right, because sin is sin, right? Sin is sin, and when it comes to whatever the LGBTQ community, and I'm probably get crucified again or whatever, that, Rich's point is, hey, they can choose to do whatever they want. God gives us the free choice, right?
Right.
And he's right. God does give us the free choice. But we shouldn't make it, as Christians, we're supposed to be the salt and the light of the earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're supposed to, help people not to go this way or that way. We're supposed to try to get them to go the right way, include ourselves. So what I was, my point to them, I was like, and he was like, well, there's going to be, you were showing a video with some, lady with a rainbow dress on. Was that Camilla?
Yeah. No.
That was Camilla? Oh, okay. All right.
Kamala, DK, don't disrespect her like that. She's Madam Vice President.
All right, Harris. I'm sorry. So she's up there representing this, right? And he made a point. He said, well, I think some of them people will be going to heaven. I said, sure. If they change and repent, sure, they will go to heaven. But if they don't, they're not. And it was like, well, God's a loving God. He is a loving God. But also, he hates sin, right? And I was like, heaven is, if we're saying that Christianity is right, right? If we believe that Christianity is right and everything else is wrong, right? Then the truth is that if we don't know Christ, that we go to hell. So, and on the flip side, if you're saying that, well, everybody can get in there as long as they do right by their God. So, if you're a Satanist and you follow all the practice of Satan, you still going to heaven? The answer is no. Same thing, with Buddha or with Muhammad, whoever you want to choose, right? If we believe the Bible is right, then that means that there's only one way to heaven, and we got to follow those rules. If we believe the Bible is an authority, why will we change anything else? If you're being a president, and I'm not saying Trump is this either, and I'm not saying Kamala is this either, but what I'm saying as a candidate, how can you support something that's against Christ if that's your whole job? Because your job ain't to be, it's not about you, right? As a Christian, it's supposed to be about spreading the good news. And the good news is, yes, Jesus loves you, but also there's things that have to go on. It's not, you can't live any way that you want to live and then think that God's like, come on to heaven.
And I think that's the hard part about it. So like,
there ain't no hard about it.
No, it is, because my question is how as a Christian do you run as president in America, the wicked world that we know it, we live in? How do you support that? How do you support those people? How do you stand for Christ and support those people without putting the pressure on saying you have to do this, you have to do this? Because that's not Christian either.
So it's more Christian to let them go to hell. No, it's say do what you want, do what you want to do. But how do what you want to do, right? Do what you want to do, and then go to hell. Because at the end of the day, we only here for a split second. So our whole point, right? What is our mission? I told y'all the other day, the Great Commission, to go and spread the good news. And I'm not saying Trump's spreading the good news, but and I'm not saying her, obviously, she ain't doing it either. But as Christian leaders, right? If she's saying she's a Christian, if he said he's a Christian, you gotta go out and spread the good news. You gotta stand on Christ, whether if you win or not.
So
Whether or not, it doesn't matter because yeah.
Let me jump in here real quick. So with that being said, I agree with a lot of what you're saying, right? So let's just say we had different candidates. Let's just say we had, what was the guy, Ramaswamy, which I believe he's Hindu, Vivek, right? And then we had another candidate that was Jewish, right? So neither one of them are pushing Christianity.
Joseph Lieberman.
Okay, Lieberman, right? And then one of those two candidates ends up becoming the president, and now they start pushing their religion and legislating laws based off of their religion. You see how it spirals down into you see how that can be a slippery slope. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't spread the good news, but there's a reason for a separation of church and state.
Yeah, but who separated it? I know, but why? But what? Think about it. Why is it separated? You know why?
It's separated specifically for that reason. So when you have somebody that's in an executive position, they're not legislating and they're not pushing. They're not using.
They're not becoming a king.
Right.
Making a state religion. But even with all that, the forefathers have made it clear that even though there is a so-called separation of church and state, that's not really what they intended. The system of America the frame of America cannot hold itself up if you separate it from Judeo-Christian values. And they were all very aware of that. So it's a bit of a misnomer to say that we don't want to separate God from the country. You know, we even are in our pledge, one nation under God. On our currency, it talks about, us being a nation under God. And so the forefathers never intended to make a barrier between the two for those reasons. They just hoped that the country would remain a Christian nation. And you can see that in their writings over the hundreds of years where they were like, we just hope this remains a Christian nation, just to paraphrase it. But let's say we were to get a Vivek Ramaswamy or Joseph Lieberman as a president. Mm-hmm. We hope that those presidents have moral policies that are biblical. Now, you contrast that with some things that we see coming out of, let's say Donald Trump. Does he have moral policies, right? That's up for debate. You look at Kamala Harris. Do you feel that she has moral policies, right? So as Christians, that's where I think the rubber meets the road. Is the policies that they're putting in place, are they moral? Can I hang my hat on them as a Christian man? Can I use that as something that I can run and be effective in my community with? And when it comes down to both of these two different policies, we have to ask ourselves that question. I think it's ridiculous for us to say that we have to separate religion from what we choose as a voter. Me personally, I don't publicly advocate for any of these candidates because they have such moral flaws when it comes to Christianity. I may have a private disposition towards one or the other, but at the same time, I can't support them publicly because that goes against what I see them as being Christians. Now, that being said, going back to what JR was saying, Junior, I'm going to try to pick the candidate that gives me the most material to work with, to have a moral society, whether that's, Kamala Harris, whether that's Donald Trump, Joseph Lieberman, or Vivek Ramaswamy. So that's kind of how I see it. Any thoughts on that? What did I miss, Lake Show?
You missed me, man.
Yeah. And I'm glad, and this is why I appreciate this panel from everybody chiming in, right? So when we're talking about these moral things with these candidates and the things they lack in morality, so it's like the young brother said earlier, the woman is trying to be a president for all of Americans, like he stated, which is a true statement. All Americans are not Christian. We all know this, right? Like, example, I'm a Hebrew Israelite. I follow Christ, though, right? So technically, I'm a Christian. Now, we have people who follow other things. We know this. So it's like when we got all these different different beliefs and ways of life and going, like, there's never going to be a middle ground here. You can't pacify everybody because when you do this, okay, that party don't agree with that. When you do that, then these people don't agree with this. It's going to always be a teeter-totter back and forth type thing. And when I see with politics nowadays, because I don't think the forefathers intended this to be something different without a Christian base. And where we're at now is like, it's definitely a worldly thing. And I mean, I don't see any morality coming in from either candidate. And let's face it, with Harris, Trump, and even Joe Biden, ain't none of them articulating good. Ain't neither one of us telling us about, what we gonna get, what's gonna be good. All they do is sit up and take shots at each other. They make fools and mockeries of themselves. They talking about the people when they want to vote. Now, I don't see anything there either one of them going to do. So this is why I agree with JR. It's like, it really don't matter to me who gets in there, because guess what? I'm gonna still get out here 10 toes down and grind every day. I don't care who in there. And I'm gonna keep paying attention to politics, because that way, like you stated earlier, Punch, that way I'm gonna know what type of policies are being instilled that I can take advantage of, that I can utilize while on my grind to help my family, to help my people, you know what I'm saying, and who I can help. So yeah, I'm never gonna advocate for these fools,
Kareem, I got a feeling that you're gonna give him an amen, but what are your thoughts on that?
I could do without the bells and whistles. No, I have to say this, man. Everybody is making some beautiful, valid points, and respectfully, in my humble opinion, I believe, in a lot of ways, the Christian church has failed, and I believe this is why she's able to do things like this. I mean, we look at the fact that in the past 10 years, there's been Christian pastors and bishops that's marrying same-sex marriages. There's been the first gentleman of the church. Come on, man. We've seen trannies and choir directors that's gay and stuff like this. Isn't a Christian church. And if we want to be in fact about it, there's corruption in every religion. I mean, I think it boils down to, like he was talking about, I think Blake so said earlier, it boils down to the modern day Babylon. And in the end time, Satan will show you who he is. And if we want to get even more deeper, we talked about Jews earlier. Revelation 2:9 and 3:9 says they're the blasphemy of those who say they are Jews, but they are not. They are of the synagogue of Satan. Well, Kamala's husband is a Jew. He has a hidden agenda. Nobody's talking about it.
Do you think it's a conflict of interest for a practicing Christian to marry someone of a different faith?
No. It's a bigger picture.
No, I'm saying let's hang our hat on that for a second. Do you think that's a conflict of interest?
Well, I mean, I have people in my family that has, different religious backgrounds.
The Bible says that if you're a practicing Christian, when you're getting married, you can't marry someone of a different faith.
Right. They call it unequally yoked.
Yeah.
And I get what you're saying, but what I'm saying is this, man. It will be it will be some bumps in the road there, because you live a certain lifestyle and a certain way you carry yourself, and the other person may want to raise the children that way. It could be dicey, yeah. But I want to stay on topic, man, because I feel like this guy has a hidden agenda with anti-Semitism on the rise and stuff, and they're using that as an excuse to slaughter, Arabic children and women and stuff, and it's really a genocide. I don't want to get too far left afield, but there's a hidden hand here, a hidden agenda. I mean, look at like I said, the synagogue of Satan, those who say they are Jews but they are not. Harvey Weinstein, Epstein, these are Jews. Spielberg and all these Hollywood Jews that touched little boys and little girls back in the day. It's all coming out now. It ain't just Diddy, or what they call it, Diddler. It's a whole bunch of stuff going on, man, where they don't want their name to get out. So it's a hidden agenda.
There's some conspiracy that kind of.
No, I'm not saying a conspiracy theory. There's no conspiracy theory. These are proven facts. Harvey Weinstein is in court for this, and Epstein killed himself.
No, I'm saying there's a conspiracy out that says that the reason why so many celebrities are supporting Kamala Harris is because if Donald Trump wins the election, he promises to release the Epstein list and the Diddy list, and they are lobbying with these celebrities to say that won't happen if you support her. Totally different topic.
Yeah, they have the Epstein list, but I'm just saying, all in all, there's corruption in religion.
Especially since you have them looking to them emails of Clinton, and that's how they came across that whole Pizzagate situation.
Well, I have a question for the panel, just to kind of, as we begin to sunset the show. And DK, I want you and your team to kind of tackle this first, if you're available. Do you think that a person can be a Christian if they vote for the candidate that you don't support? And I want to throw that to you, DK, if you're listening over there. Do you think that person can still be a true practicing Christian if they vote for Kamala Harris or Donald Trump or whatever the case may be?
I mean, honestly, the real answer is yes, because a lot of us feel like we have to vote. We got to vote for someone, and like most how everyone
But
says that.
if it's so controversial and so polarized, why not vote at all? Like Lake Show said, maybe that saves us from judgment from God. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could do that, but I think that a lot of people say the lesser of two evils. I heard someone said earlier, you got a choice between Satan and Lucifer, or Satan and the devil. You know what I mean? But to be honest, man, it's like we gotta. I don't. Yeah, I mean, like to be honest, I'm more torn the more I'm listening to you guys. Right? Not torn who I'm going to vote for, but torn from the system, torn of how our country has become, torn of what it might become, torn of just the BS that's going on. You know what I mean? And we got to find a way. Like I was just talking to Richard, I told him, I said, the thing is, what we really need is someone to stand up for Christ, period. You know what I mean? As Christians, stand up for Christ, period. And whether you win or you lose, it doesn't matter. As long as you stand on the principles of Christ.
Right.
That's the candidate that we need. And yes, the world might not want you, America might not want you, but if it's for you and God wants you to be there, He'll make you be there. It doesn't matter if you stand on the principles that God wants you to stand on. And I think both candidates are scared to do that.
Because a pastor still be a pastor if he supports, LGBTQIA plus and child deletion in this candidate.
Of course, no. And I've already said that, and I've been ridiculed all week on that. But thank you for bringing it up again. But the truth is, no, you can't. You cannot stand. You cannot support sin and support Christ. It's one or the other.
But can you? But then on the other end, can you support someone who is a pathological liar and a megalomaniac?
And still be a Christian?
That's right.
I mean, I support you. I'm sure you lie. Don't you lie? Hey, I support you.
Oh wow!
I get what you said, though. I get what you said.
Do I really look like a guy with a plan?
I just want us to keep everything equal.
To keep everything, but what I'm saying is sometimes, and I'm
God.
not saying, we don't have to compromise. We're not the ones running for office, right? And we do have a choice on who gets there.
But God punished the people when they chose bad leaders. You see what I'm getting at here?
Hold on. So, come on, man.
Think about it. Pass the microphone to Richard over there.
No. Because hold on, and I'll pass it to him right here. But you're right. God did did punish people, right? Punish the people who did bad leaders. But you know what? You know what was worse though? When we talk about the talents, right? The person who had one talent and didn't do anything with it, just hid it away. So if you do nothing, right, there's an issue with it. At least take whatever you have, whether it's 2, whether it's 5, whatever you.
That sounds like some tap dancing, man.
No. Whether it's good. So do the best you can. I mean, he's on one side, I'm on one side. But at least what we're saying is, you know what? I'm not going to just hide my talent. I'm not going to hide my little piece of gold. I'm going to make my choice. I'm going to do the best I can do with what I have. It might not be all I need, right?
He still ain't telling me if they're condemned or not. Richard, you ready?
Yeah, I think for me,
Richard, now think about it. Let me set the question up here. Donald Trump is a liar and a megalomaniac.
Right.
And there's Christians who are willingly voting for him. People who are blood-bought Christians. Are they beyond God's grace?
No. Well, it's hard. I think, like I said, for me, I'm gonna just say this: when I make my decision on who I'm voting for, I am supporting the person, not the sin.
You're supporting Kamala Harris, and she wants to do this with our country, LGBTQIA plus, and child deletions on demand.
I'm not in support of the sin. Again, a presidency is a 4-year term.
But imagine the damage a liar and a megalomaniac, or someone who is poor, who is pro alternative lifestyle and downtown. Imagine how much damage they can do in 4 years.
Oh, do you support YouTube? Do you support StreamYard? We pay you. You know, what I mean, we pay. You support Chat GBT. We do all these things, right? But it's okay. You buy Coke or whatever, and Coke to soda.
That doesn't make sense.
Now, what I'm saying is that you support all these other
soda.
I'm doing a keto diet now, so no,
Oh yeah, right.
zero calories.
You do Coke Zero. Okay, so what I'm saying is though, we make all these other decisions in our life, right? Where it might be people who's in charge of these systems who are against Christ completely, right? Or maybe just a little bit, or maybe some, and we deal with it. And you do.
So you've just given people who support Kamala Harris a complete pass.
I'm not giving anybody a pass. What I'm saying is, let's make it educate. Let's not. What I'm saying is, we're already in the game and everything else, right? We're in the game and everything else. But now it's time to pick the leader of our nation. And you say, you know what? Since neither one of them is Christ, right? Because we all fall short. So neither one of them is Christ. Just stay out of it. And I'm not going to do that. I mean, you can choose to do that, but I'm not going to do that. And you don't do that in the rest of your life with everything else that you support. If you support Elon Musk, you say you just got a Tesla for somebody in your family. You support him. You know what I mean? So you support Trump and you support.
I didn't say I was voting for Musk.
No. But what I'm saying is you're supporting him by buying a vehicle. That's money in his pocket. It's a Green New Deal, and he's going to be on a cabinet with Trump. So you support both of them. You know what I mean? By buying his vehicle.
Yeah, give away.
One last point. I'm done.
Okay, we're gonna pass it to JR and get his opinion. Does a person lose their connection with God by how they vote, JR?
Not at all, man. Not at all. Just like we all sit here and we all sin and we all say a cuss word here in the next 2 or 3 hours. Does that mean that you're not worthy of God's grace?
I don't curse.
Language. Okay. Well, we're not gonna we gonna other than cussing then. Nobody perfect. Just because you vote for this person or that person, that does not take you out of God's grace. No, it doesn't.
Okay, I won't beat up on you too much. DEI hire. Is anybody in the Christian community in danger of losing their connection with God because of who they vote for?
Personal connection, maybe. Not necessarily. God knows we're going to fail. Knows we're going to sin. So
a person can vote for Kamala Harris and be at risk of hellfire.
Sure.
Okay.
But more importantly, I just want to clarify, since I didn't get that question. The one candidate has character flaws, but the other one just has non-Christian policy. I think right there, if you're gonna vote, there's a difference.
Character flaws versus godless policies. Okay. Jayhawk, what say you?
Yeah, I fall in line with the last two speakers, JR and DEI hire. I definitely don't feel that you will fall out of grace.
People quiet, huh?
I'd be saying the same exact thing they both said.
Corey, what are your thoughts?
I had to get my mic. No, I mean your relationship with God is personal. So I don't think supporting a particular candidate when you only have two to choose from is going to ban you to hell. But I also think it's also important to note that Trump himself is not anti-abortion.
You're right.
He's never said that he would approve a federal ban, nationwide across for anti-abortion. He actually
and he's also not anti-LGBTQIA plus.
right. So both of these candidates are flawed. It's just which is worse. You're choosing out of that. So
Lake Show, you want to double tap on this because you've already left a few comments on that. What do you think, bro?
Okay, so both of these candidates are anti-life, fact. Both of these candidates support depopulation, fact. Yeah, it's a wrap.
If you support them, then you go on with them to the pit of fire?
I wouldn't. That's a complex question. So if somebody is going to allow, their political understanding or belief,
I can't hear
if they're going to
bro.
put that, can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear.
All
I
right,
can't
so
hear anybody else though.
Just go out and come back in.
if somebody allows their political beliefs to be more important in their life than following God and doing that, then yes. However, if they're just going to put a vote in on a ballot, but they still going to, stick to the guns and roll with the Messiah and the Most High, then no. Because this is simple as casting a vote, no. Because like one of the young brothers mentioned earlier, like, yeah, he's voting for who he's voting for, but he doesn't agree with all of her policies. So if he votes for her and she's got all this stuff going on, which is anti-Christian, and this boy is a Christian, I mean, either way it go, you voting for the wrong one. Because, DK said it. I almost said it earlier because I hear a lot of people say, oh, I'm voting for the lesser of two evils. So you're just going to vote for evil.
Okay.
There's no such thing as a lesser evil. Evil is evil.
Oh. Kareem, last thoughts. Does a person lose their salvation? Okay, maybe he's off.
I'm going to respond. I'm feeling for that. Me personally, as a Christian, I'm encouraging everyone to go vote. Like I said, my personal relationship.
You encourage everybody to vote for Kamala Harris or Donald Trump?
That's your choice. But as far as I'm concerned, the relationship, my personal relationship I have with God is not going to interfere. It's not going to be based off of a political debate going on in a wicked world. It's just not how it is. I encourage everyone to get involved in their community. It's just like in the school board. If you're on the school board and y'all coming up with certain and different policies, there's always going to be a debate. There's no right. There's no wrong. You're always going to debate. So it's just I think of it.
If somebody on the school board is a liar and a megalomaniac, or supports LGBTQIA plus, ideology or child deletion,
versus who?
Let's say we have two candidates that believe in either one of them.
That don't believe in either of them?
That believes in either or, Just like we have half of the national election. One's a liar, one's a child deleter.
Then it's the same. We're in the same boat that we are with the two presidents. It's no difference. It's
just making sure we're consistent. And that's my thing, guys. I just want to make sure that we stay consistent with this. But even what I say doesn't matter, But I want you guys to see it from the perspective of being consistent.
Can I say something?
Oh yeah, you're back. Got you. Briefly, let's knock it out.
No, I was back. I just wanted to say, man. We were talking about. I agree with JR and of course Lake Show, and I think you as well. I think we all have the same view because we came up together. All three of us, and you may have an idea of, hey, man, I grew up with this guy, or you could love a person, but you don't have to love that person's lifestyle. So I get that part of it, and at the same time, realize that God knows that none of us are perfect. You know what I mean? And when it comes to politics, I think DK was saying it too. Like, what am I leaning? Is this person leaning more towards the way I feel about life? Our morals. Let's put the morals back into it. So, morally, can I vote for this person and feel all right, or is it something that I feel deep down? Like, everybody got that angel and that demon on their corner. Like that. You walk into a room, I just don't feel right. Let me get out of here. You got that when they call it energy, a vibe.
Called
And a
the
lot of
Holy
people,
Spirit, conscience of Christ.
right, a conscience, yeah. A lot of people feeling that with Trump, but they don't realize that, the devil wears many faces, man. So, and it don't have to go, like people say, oh, well, she black, she fighting for us, this and that. But we just got to be smart, man. Like at the end of the day, like I feel like Lake Town said, man, we need to start our own party. We need to have, see, a lot of people don't realize NAMI, denomination, D meaning divide, NAMI meaning name in Latin. All these different religions, and they're divided, one God. So, we just got to be mindful of that.
Well, I'll say this as we start to sunset the show. I don't publicly support anybody. Now, privately, I may have, opinions. But because neither of these candidates are truly good Christian candidates, I can't support them publicly. I do think that Trump has problems with telling the truth, and he can be a little bit avant-garde as a megalomaniac. Those qualities, they're not something I would publicly tell somebody to support. Contrarily, with Kamala Harris, her being an advocate for LGBTQIA plus lifestyle and child deletion, as a Christian, I just can't square that circle and make that make sense and tell someone to vote for her. So that being the case, and maybe this is some wisdom for you guys, maybe there's something I need to learn. Don't publicly put any of these people on a pedestal. Make if they're not the ideal person that you would look up to as a fellow Christian brother or sister, then just keep your vote to yourself. And don't feel upset or butthurt that somebody else doesn't want to vote the way you think they should vote, because we both have problems. This is a catch-22 that has been given to us by Satan, and God is also watching. He wants to see how we have these conversations, and are we still including him in them? If I support Kamala Harris, even though she supports, a different lifestyle, and she supports, child deletion, that's going to be tough for me to do as a Christian. I better do it privately. I better not be telling other folks that I'm supporting that. If Donald Trump is talking about blowing up the world and turning into a supervillain, how can I in good conscience tell people that this is who you should vote for? That's how I see it. And I could be wrong in that. But I really appreciate everybody giving your thoughts on this. DK, do you have any last words?
Nah, man, I'm good, man. I just appreciate everybody coming on here. And like I said, I respect everybody's opinion, thoughts, you know what I mean? And definitely a good conversation, you know what I mean? So,
And I will say in closing, if we do become too hardline and too partisan with this stuff, we can lose our connection with God, because we're not here to be Democrats, Republicans. We're not here to be a Democratic Republic. We're part of a kingdom, guys. Our home is not of this world. And when we put too much stock in what we have here, we become like Lot's wife, where we're looking back on what we're leaving when God is trying to lead us away from it. So pending your approval, DK, I'm going to go ahead and pray it out, man.
Yes, sir. For sure.
Father, this has been a bit of a roller coaster. We pray that you continue to reconcile us as brothers and sisters in Christ, and that we can see this clearly, and just continue to remind us that we have no king but Christ. We have no queen at all. We have you only, God, as our king. And don't ever let us put a candidate above you. Don't ever have us advocate for something that is not of your will. We appreciate the ability to participate in this democratic process, but at the same time, don't let it become something that is a replacement for you, God. We pray all these things in Jesus' name. Amen, amen, and amen. All right, guys, we appreciate you joining us. We're going to do another event. We're going to do like a watch party for the actual elections. So hopefully we can get some good conversations, and you guys can join us for that. That being the case, thanks for joining us.